Tensions are continuing to escalate in the Middle East between Israel and Hamas. Since the fighting began, Palestinian authorities claim that at least 6,500 Gazans have been killed and nearly 18,000 have been injured. Then on the other side, you have Israeli officials saying that 1,400 people within Israel have been killed, 5,400 injured. Though those numbers are very likely to go up as Hamas's rockets continue to fly into Israel while Gaza continues to get pummeled by Israeli missiles and airstrikes. Not to mention the impending ground invasion could happen at any time. There's also a fear that the conflict could escalate beyond just Israel and Hamas as Iran's so-called axis of resistance launched attacks against both Israel and U.S. bases in the region. However, the thing at the forefront of most people's minds with the situation within Gaza itself are how many people are surviving with minimal supplies. And with that, an Oxfam director accusing Israel of using starvation as a weapon of war, citing the fact that aid into Gaza is still limited. And one of the particular concerns was fuel, with the UN agency working in the region tweeting out yesterday, warning, if we do not get fuel urgently, we will be forced to halt our operations in the Gaza Strip as of tomorrow night. And that's despite the fact that aid convoys have reportedly been trickling into the region. However, there's also been some pushback against the UN. Some have pointed out that in now deleted tweets, the same agency complained about Hamas had, quote, removed fuel and medical equipment from the agency's compound in Gaza City, while Israel itself has also accused Hamas of stealing the fuel as well and storing it for themselves by posting a photo of large storage tanks and tweeting, these fuel tanks are inside Gaza. They contain more than 500,000 liters of fuel. Ask Hamas if you can have some. But then on the other hand, you have people saying, hey, if what you're claiming is true, Hamas is hoarding all this fuel and you know where it is, right? Like their posts claim that it would have been bombed a while ago. But with all this, it hasn't stopped the UN from continuing its calls for aid, and they provided a bunch of stats to back up that way more convoys need to be allowed in. Right, for example, on Sunday, there were 44,000 units of bottled water sent to Gaza, which may sound like a lot, but it's barely enough to address the drinking needs of 22,000 people just for a single day. They also pointed out that a significant number of hospitals and health clinics in Gaza are closed due to fighting or a lack of fuel. Also adding to the issues the UN is facing are comments made by Secretary General Antonio Guterres, because in a speech yesterday about the situation, he made this comment.
It is important to also recognize the attacks by Hamas did not happen in a vacuum. The Palestinian people have been subjected to 56 years of suffocating occupation. They have seen their land steadily devoured by settlements and plagued by violence, their economy stifled, their people displaced, and their homes demolished. Their hopes for a political solution to their plight have been vanishing.
With that getting him into some hot water, many condemning what they saw as him giving a justification for Hamas's attack, with leaders at Israel's Holocaust Memorial blasting him, saying that those who seek to understand look for a justifying context, do not categorically condemn the perpetrators, and do not call for the unconditional and immediate release of the abducted, failed the test. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres failed the test. While online, we saw replies like, hi, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Did this place also not happen in a vacuum? Asking for 6 million friends. And Boko Haram didn't kidnap 270 girls in a vacuum, and it's time for a ceasefire with it, said nobody ever. And also with this, you had Israeli officials calling for him to resign. However, Guterres has pushed back, saying, I am shocked by the misrepresentations by some of my statements yesterday in the Security Council as if I was justifying acts of terror by Hamas. This is false. It was the opposite. With him there pointing to other parts of his speech where he clearly condemns the attack. And with all this, it's very important to note that there were also plenty of people who defended his comment, although some there also felt like it was just a mild statement. But ultimately with this, I think one of the key takeaways from all of this is that regardless of how you feel about this situation, no one should want 2 million people who are just there to starve or be slowly denied the most basic necessities. And something has to be done to get aid across the border while at the same time ensuring that Hamas isn't pillaging it.